Welcome to tips video for Stranger of Paradise, your never truly final bastards. In this one I'll share some tips to help you get through the game. First tip is regarding difficulty. If you've played previous Team Ninja games, one might think that hard is where it's at to start with. Think again. Game utilizes a slightly different system and is badly balanced, which will lead to frustrating deaths, broken monitors, unnecessary divorces, alimony and so on. Not worth it. Learn the system on normal and then repeat missions on hard if you want. Hard has better jobs, but it is going to take much longer due to constant frustrating deaths. Don't ruin experience for yourself, because Team Ninja will if you give them a chance. Missions have item requirements, and those should be taken seriously. Matching gear to mission level is more important during first playthrough than aiming for gear with particular job affinity, as it might never come, and even if it does, it will quickly become obsolete. Next, story missions, however, usually have much higher requirements. To negate that, enter higher level mission and farm enemies near starting respawn point, until fully equipped with higher level gear, no matter what the job affinity it has. Reason is that having lower level weapon makes breaking enemies lot harder, which leads to less soul bursts, which leads to less MP, which leads to less abilities, and without them you're in trouble. Lower level armor means enemies will break player gauge by just looking at them, and you don't want to be on the receiving end of couple attacks in a row. Mix and match job affinity on gear as new stuff starts dropping. As you start killing enemies, job experience increases. Affinity percentage means how much experience is going to go to that particular job, and it is sum of affinity on gear and equipped job. Equipping job means that affinity is set at 100% for that job. Each gear piece has job affinity at certain percentage. Experience is not split among jobs. Instead, each job gets some experience based on percentage number. Example, 100 experience has been gained. My gear has all sorts of job affinities, with Assassin being equipped job. Assassin in this case gets 135 experience because affinity is 135%. Swordsman gets 156 experience because 156% due to equipped gear. Thief 76 due to equipped gear, and so on. So each experience gain goes to all equipped jobs based on percentage numbers. Important thing to know is that jobs go to expert level. Check final skill upgrades of advanced and expert jobs to understand what is required to unlock them. Expert classes are quite powerful, so rushing them would not be bad idea at all, but it is going to take some time to level all required classes before wanted one. For example, if I want to play Assassin Expert job, I need Assassin nodes unlocked from Monk and Thief. Pugilist is basic class that has Monk Advanced class node we need. Then on Monk Advanced class, unlock Assassin node. Duelist is basic class that has Thief Advanced class node that we need. On Thief Advanced class there is Assassin node, so Assassin job can be played after acquiring both Assassin nodes from Monk and Thief Advanced classes. Now for some combat tips. At the start of game there are weapon tutorials after initial tutorial has been completed. I urge you to go there and remember combos used for each weapon, as they are going to help tremendously to understand what your chosen weapon type can actually do. Do not neglect this tutorial. Game offers 3 defensive options in form of block, soul shield and dodge. Frankly, I've almost never used the normal block, but that might be because I played agility classes from the start that focus more on dodging. Regardless, soul shield is option you are going to have to use more, especially against bosses, as their attacks will break gauge easily. It also recovers and decreases max MP. Soul Shield can also break, but can withstand couple nasty attacks before breaking. When gauge is low, switch weapons so you don't get broken, especially versus bosses. After it has been replenished, switch back to the original weapon. Lightbringer is a great way to regenerate break gauge, as it replaces break gauge with its own version where player cannot be so easily broken. It costs 2 MP though, so shouldn't be used whenever. Versus bosses it is usually a great option, and when facing tough group of enemies, as it will help tremendously to break them. So remember to use Lightbringer against bosses and tough enemy groups. Upon breaking an enemy, Soul Burst can be performed. It recovers and decreases MP. Breaking enemies and performing Soul Burst is of utmost importance, otherwise MP is going to remain at low levels, with fights being tougher. Abilities are what breaks enemies, and they are used as combo enders. Open menu and edit combos to your liking. Remember though that not every ability is made equal. Usually expert job abilities are better than previous ones, which is why unlocking them should be a priority. For example, Falcon Dive for fist weapons is insane ability that can break easily toughest of enemies, while others that I have aren't even close. So my goal is to use that ability more than others in effort to manage MP more efficiently. Stick with couple best combos per weapon and combat is going to be easier. Go to options and set Soul Burst animation to short. It is not going to be as cinematic afterwards, but at least you won't get hit as often because of bad camera angles and lack of vision. This option really helps. Managing party members is quite easy. Equip highest level gear so they can survive and dish out some damage at least, and use resonance when you want them to go all out on an enemy. Usually this means when boss has been broken, when chasing cactuars or focusing down any vulnerable enemy. If any particular group of enemies is quite problematic, which happens, simply run past them and continue the progression. They barely do any chasing, so it is safe strategy. Anyway, that is all. Hope this video helps. Check out the description for Patreon and subscribe star links if you want to help the channel further, and stay tuned for more content.